Okay, so we are going to see today the 80386 processor state after reset. Means when we shut down the processor and when we start it again, how the processor, which processor state is going to take. Okay, so first the initialization part. So after the signal reset, when we start our processor, so at that time certain registers of 80386 are set to some predefined values, and these values are sufficient to enable execution of the bootstrap program. What is bootstrap program? Bootstrap program start your processor. Okay. Additional initialization must be performed by the software before all the features of the processor can be utilized. Okay, so there are number of features in the processor. So before utilization of that features, it needs to be initialized. That's why this initialization step is necessary for all the processors. Now, which is the first step? The first step is what? It is the power up self test. So processor takes power up self test. So by using this power up self test, your EAX register, the content of EAX register is depend on result of this power up self test. If EAX register hold zero value, then 80386 pass this power of cell test. If EX register hold non-zero value, then what it indicate? It indicate that the 80386 processor is in the faulty mode. Okay, it has some error. The next step is checking the DX register content. So this DX register hold the component identifier of 80386 and revision number after the reset mode. Okay. So this DX register means DH and DL. So what DH register contain 3. This 3 indicate that this is the 80386 component. This is device ID, we can say. This 3 is device ID of 80386 component. If it contain the DH register contain 3, it means it indicate that this is a 80386 component. Then DL register. So this DL register contain the revision level. So we know all the processors are revised time to time. So each revision has a unique identifier. So this DL register contain that unique identifier of the revised processor. So this is the second step after reset. By checking these two values of the DH and DL, the processor come to know that this is the valid step after reset. Then checking with control register 0. This is one of the system register. So control register 0. So it contain the values like ET, TS, EM, MP and PE and PG bit. So what these values are? So this ET bit, when this bit is set, when this bit is set, it means that 80387, which is a math coprocessor, is present in the configuration. If this ET bit is reset, ET stand for extension. If ET bit is reset, it means that either the configuration contains 80287 or does not contain a coprocessor. Now to check this, if it contain the coprocessor or if it contain 80287, it has some software test. So later that software test is being taken by the 80386. Okay. Then TS bit. So there is task switch bit in the control register 0. So initially it is 0, then EM bit, it is also 0 at the initial point, that is the do not monitor coprocessor bit. Then there is MP bit, math processor bit, coprocessor not present. Okay, so it indicate, if it is 0, it indicate that coprocessor not present. Then last bit is PE bit, that is protection enable or not enable bit. Okay, if it is 0, it means that the processor is in the real addressing mode. Means what? When we start our processor 80386, it start in a real addressing mode. Okay, then at the bit number 32, we see the PG bit, that is a paging bit. This is also disabled at the starting point. 0 means it is disabled, paging is disabled. Then the next step is what? The remaining registers of 80386. So there is E flag register. So E flag register is having the value this 00002. If you remember E flag register, we already seen the E flag content. So that the last means the first bit of E flag register is always 1. It is by default 1, which is given by the Intel. So that is the predefined bit. So that's why the value is 00002. Okay, means last 10 is enable. Okay, so this is the initial position of E flag register. Then IP. IP is having this value. This is again the initial value of IP. So this is then CS selector, DS selector, ES, SS, FS and GS selector. All the selector registers are having the initial values are 0000. Okay. So CS, DS, ES, SS, FS and GS registers are used for what? For that which contain the base address of corresponding segments. If I say CS, so it contains the base address of core segment. Okay. Then the next is IDTR register. So this is also one system register. The initial value of that register is, the base of that register is 0 and the limit is 03 FFH. And other registers which are not mentioned here are all undefined. Okay. So whenever 80386 start, the processor begins in a real addressing mode with interrupt disable. All the interrupts in that case are disabled at the starting point. Then, as I said, it start in a real addressing mode. So there are again the steps for the software initialization in real addressing mode. Okay. So in real addressing mode, some structures must be initialized before the program can take advantages of all the features which are provided by this mode. So stack, how the stack is used. So at the starting point, no instructions that use the stack can be used until the stack segment register has been loaded. And that stack segment register, that is SS, must point to the area in RAM memory at the initial part. Then interrupt table. So there is a interrupt table exist in the processor. So the initial state of 80386 leaves all the interrupts disabled. But see, as I said, all the interrupts disable, but the processor will still attempt to access the interrupt table if an exception or non-maskable interrupt occur. If there is non-maskable interrupt at the time of reset state also, the processor can still attempt it. Okay, then initialization software should take the following actions, like First is change the limit value in the IDTR to 0. We already seen that, that is the initial value 0 in IDTR register. Then put pointers to valid interrupt handlers in all positions of the interrupt table. So that might be used by the exceptions or the interrupts. So there are interrupts and there are interrupt handlers which handles all the interrupts. So put pointers to a valid interrupt handlers. Then last is change the IDTR to point to a valid interrupt table. So these are the software initialization which is takes place in a real addressing mode. Then from where the first instruction is going to execute. So after reset, the address lines A31 to A20, these address lines are automatically asserted for the instruction fetch. Okay, so address lines 20 to 31 are automatically asserted for the first instruction fetch. Okay, so the initial values for CSIP pair, because CSIP pair we will require for the instruction fetch. Okay, so that CSIP pair is also initialized, and the instruction execution to begin at physical address, the physical address is also be default one, that is FFFFFF0 in hex. So from this address, the first instruction is being executed after reset. Okay. So that first instruction is already there on this address, and this address is taken by the address bus, and that first instruction is being executed after the reset. Okay, so this automatic assertion of address lines A20 to A31 allows the system designers to use your ROM memory at the high end of the address space to initialize the system. Okay, so these are the means first instruction is being executed from this address. Then switching, the next step is what? Switching to the protected mode. This is the last step. So after initialization in real addressing mode, the processor is being switched to the protected mode. So there is one PE bit, that is protection enable bit in CR0 we have seen. Okay, so that bit is enabled for being switched to the protected mode. Okay, once the processor switch to the protected mode, then the normal execution of the processor is being executed. So that was the system state after the 80386 processor reset. Okay, so these are the default steps that 80386 processor are being taken in each and every reset.